Hey guys, it's Mud Man from Mud's Must back with another one, and I had sent out a poll and I got one person. That's how low my channel is. One person on what I should react to, and he said current events. So one of the biggest things in the news right now for current events is alligator Alcatraz, and one of the biggest names in the animal world at the moment is Forrest Galante. I can't say his last name. Forgive me if I butchered it, but he's on Fox News talking about alligator Alcatraz. We might not do the whole 14 minutes, but we will do some of it, and we'll pick and choose here what we'll talk about during along the way. So let's get into some current news, which is going to be a little different than what I'm used to, but let's go.
All right, welcome back in here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andy Mack. Earlier on today, President Trump visited a very controversial new migrant detention facility in the Florida Everglades. He was flanked by DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, the Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, amongst others.
All right, now let me ask you something. Why is it so controversial? It shouldn't be. Alcatraz was not controversial. If we go to any other country and we try to break into that country and live there, we're going to have worse done to us than being put in a makeshift detention camp. We're probably going to be stoned or hanged in the street. I mean, that's just that simple. But these people come here and they say they're looking for a better life, and I say they are. But there's a right way and a wrong way to come here. It just took my brother's wife, which he is an American military. He married a girl in Kuwait from Kyrgyzstan. It took him 3 years to be able to get her here. So do it the right way.
Let's take you right now out to Caroline Shively with this report of the tour there in South Florida.
President Trump touring Alligator Alcatraz Tuesday,
That's
a new migrant
name.
detention center near the Florida Everglades.
We're surrounded by miles of treacherous swampland, and the only way out is really deportation.
The 3,000-bed state facility will be the...
That's it, deportation. Look, I got some Mexicans that live at the bottom of the hill. There were 22 of them. And I haven't seen them since Trump took office, and that's the God's honest truth. Every Sunday they had music blasted. They had go-karts. They had four-wheelers. They had nice cars. They had brand new cars. I'm talking about 2024 models. Trump became president. Haven't seen none of them.
Be the largest in the country, right next to an airstrip, with Florida National Guard members deputized as immigration judges.
Good. Okay, so the Florida National Guard has been deputized as judges. So I'm curious to see how that's going to work, and I'm wondering if Ron DeSantis explains it, or maybe Trump will. But I'm thinking DeSantis will because he's the governor. So we'll see.
Come here, say they already or been ordered to be deported. You drive them 2,000 feet to the runway, and then they're gone. It's a one-stop shop.
The detention center is in the Big Cypress National Preserve, home to alligators, water moccasins, and Burmese pythons.
So, Burmese pythons, there's also reticulated pythons. They've been anacondas found there. They've been African rock pythons found there. They've been... The Everglades is like our Australia.
The president has suggested the local wildlife will discourage any escapes.
That's right.
Not so, say some protesters trying to protect the Everglades.
This is not a scary place. The alligators and the pythons will not be security guards. They are absolutely terrified of people.
It's not good for the...
No. All right, look, they are terrified of people. All reptiles are. Like people say, oh, a snake chased me. No, the snake didn't chase them. But the thing about Florida that's not like other places is Florida is overran. So all of those animals are hungry all the time because there's not enough food to feed them, to the point where alligators are eating smaller alligators, and like snakes that don't eat snakes are eating snakes. Like I've seen some wild pictures come out of the Everglades. So they're not so-called afraid of people down there, is that they're hungry down there.
For the water, it's not good for the wildlife and the habitats.
Yeah, look, I'm one of them. Let me put it on mute real quick. Look, I just got started. I don't have that fancy stuff yet that you can just skip a video on, okay? So let's skip it and get back to it.
Illegal border crossings have plummeted under the Trump administration, and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says the tough federal stance is leading to an increase in self-deportations.
Right?
We believe it's over 1 million, possibly more than that.
A Fox News poll released Monday finds that 67% of Americans are concerned about illegal immigration, but a separate Fox survey
only 67%. It should be a lot higher. We all should be concerned with it. Everybody has had someone pass away at the hands of fentanyl or whatever else that they're bringing in here, or if they haven't been taken out by an illegal already. Like, for some reason, these illegals like to drink and drive. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, drinking and driving is one of the worst things you could ever do. Now, I smoke some of the devil's lettuce every day, but alcohol is a worse drug than marijuana ever could have been. So, yeah, a little.
survey says 53% think the administration has gone too far in its enforcement. In Washington,
All
Caroline
Democrats,
Shively, Fox News.
Republicans.
Thank you so much. And it is a new concept expected to open this month in July.
It already
you can
opened.
Look right
It
now
just
live
opened.
there at the Everglades in South Florida, courtesy of our Earth Cam partners. As you can see the sun setting on this region after President Trump visiting this, talking about immigration and much more. And we also saw more from the DHS, from Homeland Security on social media as well, as they posted this AI-generated image of those alligators, talking about alligator Alcatraz wearing the Immigration and Customs Enforcement hats. Let's take you out to a conversation I had, a very interesting one, talking about the wildlife, exactly talking about that and what it means for this area, what's it all about, what might be lurking there in the swamps. Let's listen into this. In here too, live now from Fox, I'm Andy Mack. Casually called Alligator Alcatraz, the controversial temporary migrant detention facility will open this month in July in the Florida Everglades, and it's surrounded by those natural barriers, surrounded by swamps filled with alligators, pythons, and other dangerous creatures. As they made this announcement, President Trump was on the ground in the
So 39 square miles, 10,500 foot long runway, surrounded by the Everglades and 1,000 beds.
Florida Everglades in this remote region. You can see some of that terrain there is very dangerous. And much like the Alcatraz in San Francisco, this facility also has a natural barrier around it. Let's continue this conversation and dive into some of the wildlife. We're going to be joined right now by global wildlife expert, TV host, conservationist, Forrest Galante. Thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And it's called Alligator Alcatraz. What kind of dangers, what kind of wildlife is out there in the Florida Everglades?
Is that Everglades ecosystem, but it's not an area to be taken lightly. I mean, in addition to alligators, there are much scarier American crocodiles, the invasive Burmese pythons, there's diamondback rattlesnakes, cottonmouths, mountain lions, black bears, snapping turtles. Believe it or not, there's even bull sharks that will roam into the Everglades. So there is a plethora of wild predators that actually will sort of protect and insulate or keep people at least from escaping from this Alcatraz.
Yes.
And that's before you talk about the crazy heat and the inclement weather that Florida has. I mean, it really.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The crazy heat, the mosquitoes in the Everglades are crazy. And like, it's ran with animals. There's why people aren't living there it's why it's a densely populated area.
Really is a sort of an island over there.
And can we talk about it? Because you listed off all those predators out there. How do they all fit? How do they coexist in this environment?
Well, because the Everglades is such an incredible wetland and vibrant ecosystem, it's able to support an amazing abundance of life. And so that includes small prey animals, mesopredators like raccoons and possums, and then that feeds the entire foundation for all of these larger predators. Now, a lot of those are native, like the alligators and the rattlesnakes, but then you add in things like the Burmese pythons, recent evidence that more and more bull sharks have been moving into the Everglades, and you just have this sort of perfect storm.
I did not know that bull sharks have been moving in there. That's a new one to me, but I trust his, So you see those little things on the mouth there? Those are sensory pores. They can feel everything around them. They got them all over their body.
Form of American predators all in one location that makes it unbelievable. And all those things are hungry because they're all competing for food. So it's not a great place to go wandering around.
What did I say earlier? They're all hungry. So no, they're not scared because they're all hungry.
No, it is not. And so many teeth, so much venom is in there. Can we talk about the alligators first? Because there are obviously the American alligator, different kind of parts of the alligator. Can you talk specifically about what the alligator brings? Because we know it's been around for millions of years growing. How big can they be? How long have they been around? And how have they really adapted to be this predator that they are?
Yeah, I mean, there are reports of alligators getting up to 20 feet. More realistically, they get up to about 13 or 14 feet. They can weigh upwards of nearly 1,000 pounds, so they can be big, heavy predators. They have an incredible jaw pressure of around 2,000 psi. And when they bite, like most crocodilians, they latch down and they go into a death roll. And so if you're bitten by one, the way that they actually kill you is not with that size. It's not with that force or those incredible teeth. It's from that roll, which actually rips limb from body. And so it's a very brutal way to go. So if you ever are bitten by an alligator, make sure you roll with it, because that is the sort of finishing move that they have to take out any prey species, and that includes an unlucky human being.
Yeah, and of course you can see.
Definitely. I just seen a video, a news article the other day where a saltwater crocodile had ate a 5'8" man somewhere over. I can't remember exactly where it was at, but he went to the river and was just shredded by this saltwater croc. So I mean, but bull sharks is still tripping me out.
See some of
But what I do know about bull sharks is they can live in brackish water. Like, it don't have to be salt water. Like, they have the capability to breathe in other types of water. That's why you see bull sharks being found up the Mississippi River all the time.
Some of them in the water, on land. How can they adapt to be in both places? Because I know they get on the land because they're cold-blooded, they do these sorts of things. How do they work both in water and on land?
Yeah, well, as ectothermic reptiles, they require moving out on land in order to use the sun for energy. However, they're aquatic by nature. They're an ambush predator that lives in the water and will ambush things by being incredibly stealthy and silent and moving under the water. So they've really filled this incredible ecological niche of a predator that is very well suited to being in water and on land. And that is what has made them the apex predator of the Everglades for millions of years, as you pointed out.
Yeah, and talking about reptiles, let's move over to snakes, because we know, talking about pythons and different venomous snakes on the ground, what types exist in the Everglades? How big can they get?
Yeah, I mean, there are the native species like your cottonmouth, your eastern diamondback rattlesnake, your pygmy rattlesnake, and then...
So the pygmy rattlesnake, when it's a baby, will fit on the size of a quarter. And you might call me a liar. I'll say silver dollar to make it better. But it can fit on there when it's curled up. It's the smallest species of rattlesnake, to the point where you cannot hear the rattle unless you're right up on it. And if you're near a pygmy rattlesnake and you can hear its rattle, it's done too late, because you're going to be bit most likely if you step on it or near it. But what people don't understand about these venomous snakes is that, yes, if you step on them, they are going to bite. If you grab them, they are going to bite. But like if you're walking by or something, they're not going to waste their venom on you. They know they can't eat you. So you might get a dry bite. They can control the venom and how much comes out, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure they can.
The one that everybody's talking about is the invasive Burmese python, which was brought in for the pet trade. A storm broke down, at least is the common belief, and
A
released those
hurricane in
animals.
83, I
Now
believe.
they've gone rampant in the Everglades. There's estimated to be somewhere upwards of 500,000, 300,000 or so Burmese pythons living in the Florida Everglades. Now, that's a nice one that you're seeing.
I know that I know that they're invasive there, man, but when I have to watch them kill them, it breaks my heart, man. I know that they're causing damage to the wildlife, but it breaks my heart when they're killing them for no, like, that and iguanas. Iguanas are my favorite animal ever. I have pet iguanas, and I have had for the past 20 plus years. They're my favorite animal. I think they're beautiful, and when people are out hunting them, oh, it drives me crazy. But I know it's got to be done, and that's the bad part. That's the sad part. I just hate to see it.
You're seeing on screen there, but they can get to nearly 20 feet long and weigh hundreds of pounds. So, you know, they're a big snake, 250 pounds or so they can weigh up to. So they are a pretty deadly predator. And in certain parts of the world, like the Philippines, there actually have been documented killing and eating people. So
Yeah.
they just add to this whole thing. And that's before we even talk about the mammals, right? Then we've got bears, we've got mountain lions, the weather, as we mentioned, bull sharks that have been moving in. There are just so many incredible creatures in the Everglades.
Yeah, that is so very impressive. You won't want to come across anything like that. You wouldn't want to come across anything
Well, you
like
wouldn't,
that.
Andy. You wouldn't. I'd love to. I'd love to go trek through the Everglades and try and survive from Alcatraz. I think that would be incredible.
Let's talk about that because, as you mentioned, just the surrounding
Forest is like me. I would love it. People's like, oh, I'm scared. No, I would love it. So I have 2 bucket list goals that I have set for myself. One, I want to catch an anaconda in the wild. A big anaconda in the wild. Or any anaconda would probably just do. But my number one that I want to do more than anything else is I want to go shark diving in a cage. I want to go cage diving with sharks. Those are my bucket lists that I want to do.
surrounding there. It is a very remote location. You talk about some of the animals, some of the wildlife, but just talk about the environment, the terrain, the swamp. How dangerous is just that?
Extremely. You know, first of
It's extremely dangerous but I'll let Forrest tell you about it. But from my knowledge and my experience of spending 98% of my time outside in nature, is that it doesn't matter where you at. When you're outside is dangerous. They are something out there at all times that can off you. And people think that they're not and they take it lightly, but people like me and Forrest, we go looking for that kind of stuff. That's what turns me on. I mean, not in that kind of way, but that's what gets my blood flowing. You mean we're gonna go out and look for bears? Oh yeah, that gets me going. You mean we're gonna go catch rattlesnakes at a mountain? Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that gets me going, man. It makes my heart pump, makes me feel alive, and it's kind of scary that it takes that much to make me feel alive. Dang, doing these videos have made me self-reflect on myself.
First of all, getting lost is incredibly likely. You cannot drink that water, so dehydration in that hot Florida sun is a high risk. The weather is very unpredictable across the Everglades. That's what makes it a wetland, right? Thunderstorms, heat and humidity, potential hurricanes, lightning storms, flooding, there's fires. In addition to all of that, you have some of the worst insects on the planet, toxic stinging plants, biting mosquitoes, ants that are absolutely terrible. And so if you were to actually get out of Alcatraz, you're then standing in nipple deep mud with water overhead, alligators around, all of these things that I just mentioned that can kill you from exposure, all these things that can kill you as predators. I mean, it really is a fantastic isolationist location because
I agree. That's the best place. And I just seen where Alaska offered bear Alcatraz. Yeah, so imagine that. Great idea.
getting out from there on foot for most people is practically impossible.
You're the guy with the
Alright, guys. So we got the gist of what Forrest is saying. We got the video. That's all. We'll react to that because Forrest was about done talking. I'm pretty sure. I have seen past this. He don't say nothing much. He just talks about the environment, nipple deep mud, and getting tangled up in all of those water plants, the lilies and everything. You're going to be stalked by something. And if you don't, it's 60 miles to civilization from there. So, I mean, really, in Florida, 110 degrees in the Everglades, humidity's worse than the heat ever could have been. Yeah, man. Hey, but look, go spend a day outside. Watch this video, then go spend a day outside. Because that's where we belong, outside. And when you become one with Mother Nature, it'll change your life, I promise you. When you become one with Mother Nature, I promise you it will change your life. But listen, y'all be happy, be nice to somebody, love everybody. Try to make today yours and hang loose, baby, because I love y'all.